Hey everybody, and welcome to today's little session with Tom and my colleague Tom. I'll introduce him in a minute. Let me introduce myself first. I'm Leon. I'm one of the lead Google trainers. I've been lead Google trainering for about a decade and I've got the grey hairs to prove it. But this little conversation that we're having is all about how training has adapted and changed over the last 12 to 18 months. So yeah, to help me discuss this is my good friend and colleague Tom.
Thanks, Leon. Really looking forward to this. I've been training for a long time as well, not quite as long on Google stuff, but on other stuff before that. I've got even more grey coming in here. And we've had an interesting year, interesting 18 months. It's been a challenging time, but I think it's also been a time of real great innovation. I've learned a lot. I think I've seen Leon learn a thing or two as well. And we just wanted to come here and tell you some of the innovations that I guess we've put in place.
So we do a lot of massive events all the time. So we do like CES, for example, in January. I know we were both there training at that event. Mobile World Congress was due to happen at the end of Feb/start of March. And in between that time, we were hearing murmurings of like, oh, is it going to happen? There's something happening? And then this brand dropped out of MWC and that brand dropped out of MWC. And I was like, no, please, not us, not us, not us. And then MWC as a whole just got cancelled. And I was gutted. But at that moment, I realised that things were going to be changing moving forward. It was a serious thing.
Yeah, I remember it well. It was definitely a bit of a heartbreaker, wasn't it? We didn't really understand what was happening. I think the whole of the world was like that. And we just love those big events. They're a real buzz. They're something that we try and do on a regular basis. You know, it's both fun. There's a lot of planning involved, but then to see that fruition, to see hundreds of staff potentially go out and work for some of those biggest tech brands of the in the world and showcase brand new products to the world is amazing, and we love doing it. But I think we were in quite a good place in the grounds that that's not all we did. Sure. Personally, I loved doing some smaller events, working out little training for other training teams, for product launches, that kind of thing was always really fun for me, and really deep diving products and making sure people knew how to talk about them and sell them and things has always been great.
I agree.
And we also did a few webinars and videos and things.
I mean, a few. We weren't doing that many.
No. It was maybe, 10%? Maybe 10% of what we did.
I reckon so.
And often both webinars and videos were in cool situations, in studios or in other companies' head offices, so that we could go out and speak to all their retail stores and things like that. So we definitely weren't necessarily doing all of these things at home, which has been a big change for me. Doing everything from home, I think lots of people have had this challenge that they've been working from home, but it's maybe a different thing when you're having to say, I've got to do some filming for 6 hours, so could we have total silence in my living room or whatever the space is we're using? I know you've had a few challenges with getting other people in your videos.
Yeah, so when this first happened, I was living in Surrey in a shared house, or like on the side of a shared house anyway, but I did most of my filming in the main house because it was bigger and there was more stuff and it was just easier to film in there. But obviously there are other people living in the main house and I can't ask them for quiet while I film, so I'd have to wait. And sometimes I actually just try to involve them. So I was filming a video regarding security cameras and the ability to speak to people using the microphone on them. And I asked my housemate if he would break in to our living room because he'd forgotten his keys and the living room window was open. So he cameoed on one of our videos that we sent out to training teams. And yeah, it was if you got lemons, you make lemonade, right? So we'll see what we could do with extra bodies and extra people in the house while we were kind of locked down.
Absolutely, and Leon's housemate at the time, if you are watching this, thanks. You were great in that video, well done.
He was.
I was doing some filming earlier this week and I had a cameo, but a catio, because my cat was in the room and he wanted to be in the shot, so it kind of worked out. At the end I had to be sat down looking at my phone and really engaging with my phone, and my cat jumped onto my lap. I was like, this works, this is okay. Just work it into the video, no problem at all.
There's been a lot of changing, hasn't there? Because like you said, we did a lot of studio work, for example, for filming videos and that kind of thing, and webinars. And I know that I've had to like have a lot of hardware around me. So I now have a tripod, camera, microphones, lighting, green screen, all that sort of stuff. And then you have to try and rearrange rooms to set it all up to film that.
Green screen's a classic example. You've got to have enough distance between you and the camera, or the right kind of lens, so that you can see everything. You can't go outside the edge. I think we've both done that, gone outside the edge, and then your hand would disappear. So it'd be very, very strange. But you don't think about these things. We're both quite expressionate. We're passionate people about these things. So yeah, I've definitely had some of those challenges. Even when doing live streams and things like that, we had the real challenge that everyone and their dog was doing Zoom quizzes with their family and friends. So we really had to try and step up all of our technological knowledge. I didn't know about lighting. We've also had to try and step up. I've really stepped up my live stream knowledge. I think I could be engaging before, and I could do a great product demo, but not necessarily from home on my own.
Yeah.
And really stand out from the crowd in that kind of way.
What have you been using to get that knowledge?
Yeah, I've used a couple of different bits of software. The thing I've really been using a lot is a thing called Ecamm. And Ecamm has some really great strengths in the respect that you can have multiple feeds. You can have multiple feeds from different people around the world. So I can easily kind of manage some videos, some product demo videos and adverts in amongst different people, some from America, some from India, wherever it is, and then deliver that out again, because we're on the internet, you can do a YouTube and you can deliver that out to people all across, loads of different regions and things. So really liked Ecamm for that. I think I've got it nailed down and we can do some great delivery with that. What about yourself?
Haven't had much experience with Ecamm. I've been using a bit of open source software called open broadcasting software, and it's free. So that's why I went down that route. But it's been really useful because previously, like you said, we train on a number of different platforms and we have to learn how to use them. And sometimes we don't have the capability to, for example, do our presentation because we don't own the meeting, and it can be a bit awkward at times. So with OBS, I can transmit everything through my camera, which means I can then set up scenes. So my camera can be on me. I can have a different camera on a product that I want to demonstrate. I can have my actual presentation go through my camera. I can have videos playing demo videos going through my camera, and they can hear that properly rather than like a web stream of that video as well. So being able to set up different scenes, and I even bought a little thing called a stream deck, which helps me to kind of flick between scenes as well. Just that hardware and software knowledge is something I didn't have a year ago. So whereas I thought I was pretty good at delivering and, like you said, being engaging on a webinar a year ago, I think I'm much more adept at doing it now.
And it's all about changing the pace, isn't it? So we can gamify these things and we can have fun. And we're very used to doing that in real life, in a scenario where we're in a room with lots of people. And, I think we're possibly some of the best people at that and keeping engaging and on brand, but absolutely. but that's what we've always been passionate about. Yeah. But online, it's almost like, I think they say with the theatre, you need to be, much more extra, than you normally would. And I think it's the same thing when you're online. When you're on a webinar, I definitely feel like I need to be even more engaging, and I need to break that training up. You can't be monotonous and just tell people, facts for an hour. That wouldn't work. So yeah, these tools, I feel, like you, I guess, much more engaged and ready to engage different types of audiences in new and exciting ways. Which is an interesting one because I think we're almost at the point where we might start doing actual live training at events, which is fantastic. It might happen, hopefully. We're going to start getting back out there.
Yes.
But I'm not sure the world is going to be exactly the same. I think we're going to have to think about those events, and that's going to be great and another challenge, how we can really engage people in that way again. But I'm not sure every event's going to be like that. We did quite a lot of international travel before, quite a lot of travel.
Yeah. And
I think we're in a good place to do some of this stuff online now when it's appropriate for different customer needs and client needs and things like that. What do you think? What are you looking forward to?
Exactly what I was going to say. I think it depends on the needs of the client, the customer, and sometimes maybe also the amount of money that, they think they can get a return on investment. So previously we did a lot of international travel, and now I love traveling everywhere and going to train, and that's my passion. And I think that our face-to-face training was way up there, and our webinars were good, But like you said, they could sometimes lack a little bit of engagement. Whereas now I think our webinars are catching up to our face-to-face training. And if it's more cost effective to deliver a webinar, an engaging one, with product demonstrations, with videos, with an interactive quiz, for example, but virtually, then that might take the place. And I think that 10% you might see start creeping up to 25 to 45% maybe. Whereas previously it was kind of if we can't do face-to-face, we'll do webinar. Now it's what makes the most sense, face-to-face or webinar?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to be a great way of working. I think we can come out of this stronger and offering more to our clients. And actually, I think that'll be fun. I quite like breaking it up. I quite like a difference in my life. Yep. So I think we're in a relatively good place.
I also like being closer to the fridge, but that's just a personal preference for me, that is.
Hey, work-life balance. If that means the fridge for you, then that's great with me, buddy.
Absolutely.
That's great with me. Perfect. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Leon.
Not at all, mate. Thank you.
Adios.
Catch you later, Tom. See ya.